let's talk about container classes. So we haven't talked about these at all yet, but they are going to be classes that are specifically designed to hold objects. And there's certain classes that we're going to want to hold objects, and then there might be attributes that we want to hold objects. At this point, let's talk about those classes, and those are container classes. So as a system that is going to manage a bunch of customers and maybe several employees, we are going to want to have a list of all of our users. So in order to do that, we are going to create a container class of users. So we're going to have class name, and it's going to be user list. And then we're going to have a set of attributes. Every container class is going to have one attribute, and it's going to be a list of that class or the list of that object. So we're going to say user, and then we're going to have brackets. These brackets are going to indicate to us that this is a container class. And every container class is going to have at least 2 methods. Okay, it's going to be able to add an object to that list, or remove an object from that list. And in this case, we're doing the user, so we say add user and remove user. And these are things that are going to be common to every container class, okay? Okay, so are there any other container classes that we might want to have? So the system is managing a list of users, so this is a good candidate to make a container of this class. And since this is an inheritance relationship, this encompasses all the employees and the customers. So we don't have to make a separate list for all of them. The user list will contain all of these because a customer is a user and an employee is a user, so they are encompassed in that class list, or that container class. Payment information, we don't need to have it as a container because we only have one payment in our customer's account. So it doesn't mention anything about the customer having multiple payment methods, and so we're just going to only have one instance of that class within our customer account. So it's fine to continue to keep that payment information as just a single attribute. The login method here, now I told you we'd deal with this later, this login method, we're actually going to move this to our container class of users. And let's talk about why. So I'm going to move this here, and we're going to put it underneath. The reason why we would want our login is because when a customer logs in, the way it's going to work is the customer is going to input their username and input their password. And so they are going to, it's going to have to search through the list of users based off of that username. And then once it finds that user, it's going to have to validate its password. Okay, so you can put in your user class, validate password. Okay, so once the system finds the user in the user list, it's then going to get the user and validate their password. Okay, so that is something that will happen in the logging in process. And so that's not in the product backlog, but it is something that you can think about and add as something that will happen for a login, right? Because that's something that happens in a login process. I'm going to change this to beverage because it's a single beverage. All right, list of available beverages. Okay, so this is something that our system is going to maintain. It's going to maintain a list of beverages. And so having a container class of beverages seems like a good candidate for a container class. So we're going to say class name, beverage list. And I'm going to remove that from there since we're adding it here. So beverage list. Now remember, every container class is going to have as its attribute the class, and we're going to have that those brackets and the S. All right, now we're going to have methods, and it's going to add beverages, and remove a beverage. Okay, so that completes our container class.